This is Sean.
That's fine.
I mean, I can break through walls, I just can't
That's fine.
get this.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
Yeah.
Get ready, prepare for blast off.
Honey! Where's my super suit? Where is my super suit? You tell me when I saw this woman, we are talking about the greater good.
Don't go there! I live there. I bought a house there. I'm gonna take you there!
To boldly go where no
one has gone before.
And remember, have fun with it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Project Shadow, episode number 568. Come out, Shadowhunters. I'm Charlie, and I will be your host for today. It's National Coming Out Day. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day and that you have remembered that today is a day to say that you love the people in your life, no matter who they are, no matter what they love, no matter who they love, no matter what, that you are there to love and support and show them that you care. Because that's what today is really all about. So hopefully you've done that today. If not, you know what? Do it tomorrow. And even if you did do it today, do it tomorrow again. Just keep doing it. It's a good thing. Make y'all feel good. Make everything go better. I told you I'd be back today, and I meant it. I'm very excited to be back on the Project Shadow podcast. And today we are going to be talking about my kind of coming out, but I've talked about it a little bit before online, my love for the Mortal Instruments series of books by Cassandra Clare. So this is going to be turned into a TV series by, I'm not going to get this right. It's now ABC Family, and it's becoming Freeform, I believe. I have such a hard time remembering that. I don't think that's a very good name for a rebrand for a company. But, well, they're trying to say that they are, not just a family network and blah, 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 blah. And they're trying to take into effect the fact that their demographic was actually wider than they originally thought it was going to be. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I've heard worse names, like when sci-fi became sci-fi, because they don't do sci-fi, and then they realized that was a mistake, and now they're doing sci-fi again. Wow, imagine that. No one could have seen that coming or predicted it. I mean, really? Anyway, so ABC Family is going to be changing its name to Freeform. That's going to take some time to get used to. And one of the new shows that they have coming out next year is called Shadowhunters. It is going to be based on the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, which, I have to be honest, I've said this before in a lot of different places, I cannot tell you if these are good books or not. And I know that sounds like a weird thing for a writer to say, but for me, and this is a very, very personal for me kind of a thing, these are the perfect books for me. Because I used to do a lot of LARPing with my friends when I was in high school, and I kind of grew up in a goth scene and, all that kind of thing. And I had a lot of friends that were hippies and everything. So when I read the first book, A City of Bones, my experience immediately was a feeling of being back in high school. It was such a nostalgia bomb for me. Every character reminded me of somebody that I knew in some way. Some of the story elements reminded me of some of the LARPs that we used to do, and dealing with the vampires and the werewolves and all that. And it really struck a memory chord in me in such a powerful and profound way that I cannot objectively tell you if they're good books or not. And I feel like I have to be upfront about that, because my objectivity completely went out the window. And yeah, so I love them. I have not finished the series yet. I got started into them rather late in the series. I'm on book 3 right now, and I'm really enjoying it. Which I believe is City of Glass, maybe something like that. anyway, I'm on book 3 right now, and it's something that I've really been enjoying. But I love it for all of the dark fantasy, dark urban fantasy elements and stuff that are in it. But there's also this strong nostalgia in me that, like, the club that they visit a couple times really reminds me of Orpheus. Magnus really reminds me of an ex of mine, and who kind of was that guy in a lot of ways. And it really strikes a nerve with me. So I have a lot invested in wanting this series to be good, because I don't know. I know it's not going to be the way that it is in my head, because that just doesn't happen. And I want it to be good. So we're quite a ways out from it premiering, and I wanted to kind of go through what we know so far and give you guys a sense of why I want to be excited about this show, why I am allowing myself to be marginally excited about the show, and hopefully we can have a really good conversation about this when the time comes, because I think that there's some interesting things. Now, the first episode of Shadowhunters, just so you know, so you can get kind of a schedule if you want to get into the books. And from everything that I've seen as far as the cast list, which we're going to go through in a minute, it looks like the first season is going to focus heavily on the events of the first book. All of the characters that I saw in there are characters that I remember from the first book, so it looks like they're going to be doing that. So if you want to kind of get ahead of the game and figure out what's going on in the books, because when we talk about this show, I probably will be doing book talk about what did they change, what's the same, that kind of thing. So if you want to be in on that, you may want to pick up the first book in the Mortal Instruments series, which is called City of Bones. And don't try to cheat by watching the movie. The movie, I have such mixed feelings about the movie. I enjoyed the movie, but I enjoyed it because I had read the book. And it's like a weird flip book of the book. It highlights a few events that take place in the novel, but it doesn't really... I don't know. I have weird mixed emotions about it. So you have till January 12th, 2016 to check out the books if that's something that you want to do. So what are the books about? The books follow Clary. I gotta think about how I can say this without being too spoilery, because there's some things that I don't want to give away. Clary Frey is a young girl who one night at a club with her friends witnesses a murder and screams out, only to find out that she's the only one at the club that could see it happen. And this leads to a cascade of events where she finds out that she is a Shadowhunter. And Shadowhunters are such an interesting idea in this world. So Shadowhunters were created using the Mortal Cup. Now, the Mortal Cup is essentially, when you think about the Mortal Instruments, they're kind of, well, I don't want to go into all of them yet, but the Mortal Cup, think of it kind of like the Holy Grail, except for instead of coming from Jesus, it was mixed, it was blessed, shall we say. I don't know how much I want to give away. It was blessed by an angel. And that angel then gave powers to anyone who drank from it, basically. And so for generations, people have been drinking from this cup and gaining powers. And those, once it's in you, it's passed down through your line. So you can be born a Shadowhunter, or you can be made a Shadowhunter. And the Mortal Cup has disappeared. I think I'm fair. It's fair to say that without being a spoiler. So the Mortal Cup has disappeared. So the number of Shadowhunters in the world is dwindling, because all you have left are the ones, the descendants of the ones that have already been made. You can't make any new ones. Now, what is a Shadowhunter? Shadowhunters work for a kind of magical government called the Clave. And the Clave controls the magical world and kind of sets the law. So it's a polder world, which means it's walled off. People don't know about it. So we mundane people are walking around in our regular, everyday lives with no idea that all this magical stuff's going on around us. And so you basically have the wizarding class, right? Think Harry Potter, right? The wizarding class. And then you have what they refer to as downworlders. And downworlders are the second class citizens in this world. So you have the warlocks, the vampires, the werewolves, and eventually at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, you have the demons. And the Shadowhunters' job is to enforce the covenant, to fight and slay the demons, and to keep the downworlders in line. And while there are a few things that technically a Shadowhunter can and cannot do, they really are kind of on their own, and they can do whatever they want, which has led to a lot of abuses of power, which has led to a lot of resentment by the downworlders. Number one, for being called downworlders, and because they're not as holy as those who are touched by the angels. And so Clary, who has been raised her entire life thinking that she's just a regular person, finds out that she is, in fact, a Shadowhunter. And the rest of the story kind of evolves out of there, with her entering this world of the Shadowhunters for the first time and having to cope with all of this darkness existing in the world, as well as all of this beauty and all of this delight. And it's a really interesting story. I don't really want to call it a coming-of-age story because I don't feel that it is. But again, like I said, I'm biased because of my own feelings thereabouts. Okay, so in talking about this show, there are a couple things that we have to start with. First of all, one of the series producers. And the series has 4 producers, which is not uncommon for a show like this. Usually you get a lot of people involved that, are going to take credit, that helped get the show made, that, are really the, I don't know that I would call them driving engines, and I'm not sure, because I've not been able to find any details specifically on this as to who the showrunner specifically is for this series. But I feel like I should point out that of the executive producers for the show, the one that stood out for me, you have Michael, I'm sorry, Michael, I'm going to murder your last name, Michael Rees, Mary Viola, and Ed Decker. And they're each listed for a set number of episodes, so I'm assuming that Michael Rees is the showrunner for the show. This is where I get a little bit confused. And Robert Kutzler is also listed as an executive producer, and you have 2 others, a Michael Lynn and a Robert Shea, all of which are listed on IMDb as executive producers for the show. So I would like to get, I would hope that at some point we can get some more clarity about, who's actually masterminding the show, because that's what the showrunner is. The showrunner is the person who, I don't want to say that they control the show per se, but the showrunner is the person who has the final say over scripts, that makes sure all the budgets and charge, is set up for everything and what have you. I am not entirely sure about that, what's going on. The show, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. So, anyway, continuing. Sorry, my dog just opened the door to my office and is in here with me now. So if you hear any click-clacking, that's her. Um, anyway, the one person that I saw on the executive producer list that intrigued me the most is that McG is listed on the executive producer list. Now, what gets me excited about this is McG is the executive producer for both Supernatural and Chuck. He's the guy that kind of gave those shows their initial vision and pushed them out on their way. He has had a fairly good track record for doing this kind of thing. So when I see those names, like Chuck was a great ensemble cast show where they took a lot of really crazy ideas and made them work in a fun, intense, action-packed sort of a way, which is something that would be necessary for Shadowhunters to capture the feeling of the books. So that's exciting. Supernatural has been a really good supernatural show. I mean, it is really paid off its premise very, very well. So seeing his involvement helps to get me excited about the show. I'm not sure exactly how involved he is. Like I said, this is very early in some ways and late in other ways, and I was not able to find as much information as I wanted. If you guys have any of these answers, please, please, please send me a link on Twitter or put it on the Facebook page. I would love to know more about this. Anywho, with McGee's involvement, that at least gives me a feeling that it's going to have a certain quality level, and I really hope that that's the case, because watching the trailer, which I will I will embed into the show notes over at projectshadow.com. I'll also share it out on my social prior to this episode coming out, so you will have had a chance to see it. The commercial reminds me more of a knockoff ad for the Witches of East End than it does for something like this. Now, there are moments in there, I felt that the ad was specifically crafted to hit certain nostalgia moments in me. There were moments in the trailer that reminded me of Charmed. There's one moment in the trailer that really reminded me of Buffy, and it's actually the one that they used for the cover image of it. The overall feel of the trailer reminded me a lot of The Witches of East End, which is a show that I do like. But it felt very, I don't know. I don't want to say soap opera-y. It did not feel finished to me. And I'm hoping that the actual show will be able to pull off the look and feel that they're going for a little bit better than the ad did. The ad made me a little shaky, but with McG involved in this project, I'm pretty excited about it. I think that he has a chance of really, his name more than any other on a show like this gives me hope that, they're at least going to give it a good try. All right, so I am going to be going down the cast list as it appears on IMDb and kind of talking about some of these people and some of the things that really surprise me, at least about what is on the IMDb page. Now, note, this information may or may not be accurate. That's, the nature of the beast. But I think that, in a lot of ways, it's going to be more trustworthy, than not. At least that's kind of been my experience with this. So, Catherine McNamara has been cast to play Clary Frey. And my initial impression of her in the trailer was I can kind of see that. Looking at some of the pictures of her on the IMDb page, there are some pages where I see Clary. Like, I clearly see Clary. There are no real promo images from Shadowhunters on here yet. So I can't, all I can go off of was what I saw in the trailer. And she really, really reminded me of Buffy in the trailer. So I have very mixed feelings about that. Unfortunately, this summer I missed the Scorch Trials, which I really wanted to see. I liked Maze Runner, and I wanted to see Scorch Trials, so I'm going to rent that as soon as that's available to rent. But she played Sonia in that, so if you did see that, that will give you some sense of her acting ability. I really haven't seen any of the things that are on her resume. There's some interesting things, though. She played Priscilla Pinch on several episodes of Transformers Rescue Bots, which, again, something I didn't watch. It was one of the Transformers shows that I really didn't like. And then a bunch of kind of one-off appearances in different series going back for a while, including one she played a character named Megan on 30 Rock, which was apparently uncredited. That was on the episode TGS Hates Women. I don't remember a character named Megan, which means that, I don't know, maybe her part was greatly reduced or something, or somebody added that to fluff up her resume. I mean, she's a young actress. You know, she has a Broadway background, so that, you know, excites me a little bit there, because, you know, that's not easy to do. She has starred opposite Catherine Zeta-Jones and Angela Lansbury on Broadway. Those are some big names to have to be up against, you know. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I have no reason to, you know, say anything against her. My biggest concern is that a lot of the pictures on her IMDb page are very kind of sexy pictures. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. And I understand she's a young actress, and she's, you know, that's something you kind of play up to get roles. But that concerns me, because that is not something I personally see in Clary's character. Now, this next character surprised me a lot, because I don't want to go into too much of his story because it's so much fun. And I'm curious what they're doing with him. But Stephen R. Hart is reprising his role from the movie, and I really liked him in the movie. He played Brother Jeremiah in the film, and he's going to be reprising that role and playing Brother Jeremiah in the TV series Shadowhunters. Now, I don't want to go into this too much, because Brother Jeremiah is one of those things that I feel the experience of meeting him in the series it's a good thing. You know, I really enjoyed him in the book, and I don't, you know, want to kind of spoil too much about him. What does surprise me, though, is they have him listed for 9 episodes in the first season, and I am not sure why he would appear in 9 episodes. That confuses me. He is listed as being in 9 episodes, and so is Clary, for example. So our main character is going to be in 9 episodes, and Brother Jeremiah is going to be in 9 episodes. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me based on the book. And this is where that Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing starts kicking into my head. I'm hoping they're not going to try to Giles him, because I don't think that would work for the character. In fact, there is a character in this season that will be in this season that kind of fills that role, and that's Hodge. And no spoilers in the comments for anybody who knows anything about Hodge, but, you know, if anything, he is the Giles character in the first book. And again, no spoilers on Brother Jeremiah, but he wasn't in the book that much. I thought that was a mistake. I really, really liked him, and maybe that's something that they're going to do and give him a bigger role, but I'm not sure how he or the Silent Brothers are going to really take on a larger role. So that's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. But right now, that just kind of boggles my mind. Like, how is Brother Jeremiah going to be in 9 episodes of the series? And how are they going to find an excuse to put him in 9 episodes? Because story-wise, he doesn't fit in them. So I'm really going to be, I don't know. I can't figure that out. Other things that he's been in the past, he has been he was the Winky General in Oz the Great and Powerful, which is a great movie, and I remember him in that. He was wonderful. He was on an episode, The Tall Thin Man of Lost Girl. He played the Tall Thin Man, and I have to say, I loved him in that, and I I think he did a very good job. You know, he's been in a lot of other stuff, long career, haven't seen a lot of it. I did like his brother Jeremiah in the movie, so I'm kind of excited to see him coming back to reprise the role. I just don't know how they're going to expand his character out to the point where he can take on that much story. That concerns me slightly. So I don't know about that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on his character right now, but Joel LaBelle, I believe is how you pronounce her name, is going to be coming in to play Alaric. I'm okay with that. I don't have any real strong feelings. Dominic Sherwood is going to be playing Jace. And I have really strong feelings about this. Jace Whalen, and this is, again, is where I get really confused by what I am seeing on IMDb and why I question the accuracy of the information here. Jace is a fairly pivotal character in the story. Jace is the first Shadowhunter that Clary runs around with, that Clary meets, and she runs around with him a lot, and he is a kind of constant character in the story, and yet, according to IMDb, he's only going to be in 3 episodes. And that doesn't make sense to me. You know, I'm assuming there's only going to be 9, or they at least only have 9 up in IMDb right now, because Clary's only in 9, and she's the main character, and nobody has more episodes than her, even though Brother Jeremiah is tied with her. I'm not sure why Jace is only going to be in 3 episodes. That concerns me slightly. But Dominic Stewart, he looks the part. This is the character that I think is going to be hardest to cast. And how to explain that? Okay, Jace is described as having very animalistic features when you look at him. And so there's a certain kind of look that you expect from him. And as far as that goes, I think they pulled that off. The actor, at least the images that I'm seeing, that I saw in the trailer and that I'm seeing on his IMDb page, he kind of fits the way I would expect Jace to look. I have seen none of the stuff that he's been in, I'll be quite honest with you. He was apparently in a Taylor Swift video short, so that happened. He was in Vampire Academy, which I did not watch. He played Christian in that. He was on The Cut, which was a TV series short. Apparently a series of shorts. I never saw those. So I'm not familiar with his work. I'm hoping that he can make Jace a believable character. I'm hoping that he really makes Jace work on the show. Like I said, my biggest confusion here is that he is only listed as being on 3 episodes, and I'm not going to judge the series for that, because I am hoping that what that means is that he is going to be I'm just hoping that that means they don't have all their information right on the show. You know what I'm saying? That they don't know everything that they need to know. And yeah, because I don't know. I don't know why he would only be in 3 episodes. That really confuses me. Really confuses me. I'm just kind of staring at it, and I can't stop staring at it. But anywho, don't get worried. I'm not going to go through every actor. I'm just kind of going through kind of some of the major characters in here. Okay, so Roberto Rosende, I hope I pronounced your name right, is going to be playing Simon Lewis on the show. He's not done very much. His career apparently started in a short in 2013 called The Swing of Things, which I have not seen. He was on 1 episode of Blue Bloods, again, which I have not seen, and then he's doing this. I'm going to, again, give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm a little concerned in that Again, this is one of those things where, you read the book and you have a certain vision in your head. The Simon in my head is a bit geekier looking, if that's even a thing, than the actor's profile pictures. He didn't look bad in the trailer. He does show up briefly in the trailer. He didn't look bad in there, but I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of very attractive people, which I get it. It's television, but this is, Simon needs to play kind of shy, and I don't know. We'll see how that works. The next two I'm going to kind of talk about together, even though I am going to murder me some names, and I apologize for that. Emeralda, I'm sorry, I know I totally messed that up. Emeralda Taubia. I'm so sorry. I know I messed her name up. She has been cast to play Isabel, and wow, she's playing Isabel Lightwood. And Matthew Daddario has been cast to play her brother, Alec. I'm excited about this. I think that, again, they look like what I expect the characters to look like. Isabel is only listed as being in 2 episodes, which, again, I find that surprising, but we'll see how they end up doing the series. Maybe that will make sense, though I would have expected Isabel to be in more. Same with Alec. Alec is only listed as being in 2 episodes. I only have one deal breaker with Alec, and it's a big one, and I feel weird kind of saying this. If you don't want a minor spoiler, this is not actually a plot spoiler, at least not for a very long time, but it is a little bit of a spoiler about his character, so I'll give you like a count to 5, and then I'll say it really, really quickly, and then you come back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alec is gay, and his parents don't know that he is, and that's a very bad thing in Shadowhunters society, and I want that to be a thing on the show, and I want them to deal with that. I want them to deal with it honestly, seriously, and full face, just like the books do, and hopefully they will do that. So I'm back. Okay, spoiler over. It's a minor spoiler, but it's a spoiler about character, and there are some people that are just so spoiler phobic. I just want to say that. And I'm hoping that they make both their characters as good as they should be, but again, I am confused seeing them listed as only being in 2 episodes. I'm really excited that Harry Shrum Jr. has been cast to play Magnus. Magnus Bane, again, listed only in 2 episodes. Kind of okay with that. Magnus doesn't show up much in the first book, and I'm assuming that that's what they're doing in this, is the first book. If you don't know him, I don't know where you've been. He is just amazing. He, of course, was Mike Chang on Glee, which is just amazing. He was in Caper. He played Luke on Caper, which, if you didn't watch Caper, that was a really, really good show. He was let's see. He was in the LXD. He played Elliot Who on the LXD, the man whose shoes kind of made him dance for him. He played Cable in both of the Step Up 2 and Step Up 3D, which is just amazing. He was one of the Omega Chi brothers. He played Vance on Greek. He's been in a lot of stuff. Great actor, great YouTube page. Does great videos there. Really good Periscope. Follow him on Periscope because he does random things. And one of my favorites is every now and then he does Periscope of him and his friends playing werewolf, and it's hilarious. And I wouldn't have thought that would be hilarious, but it's hilarious. Really good actor. Really, really like him. I think he can pull off Magnus so well. Magnus Lee is a warlock in the series. He does a lot of creepy things. He has a lot of gesticulation to him, and a great dancer like Harry Shrum Jr. will be able to pull that off. Shrum Jr. will be able to pull that off really, really well. So, very excited about that. One of the best castings so far. Isaiah Mustafa, yes, the Old Spice guy, has been cast on the show as well. More power to him. He's going to be playing Luke Garraway. I can kind of see him as Luke. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to work really, really hard to get the Old Spice guy out of my head, to see him fully as Luke, but I'm sure he's not going to be like, when I want to turn into a werewolf. You know, I'm pretty sure that that's not going to be a thing. So, yeah. I'm curious to see what they do with him. I wish him all the luck. I think he's entertaining, at least. He's listed as being in 2 episodes as well. Okay, almost done with our character recap. Alan Van Sprong has been cast to play Valentine Morgenstern. I can't tell you the first reason that I'm excited about this, but if you take a look at the cast and you've read the books, I think you'll see what I'm talking about there. I'm very excited about that. That was something that they needed to do and something that they did. Having said that, I, again, have seen none of his movies. He was in The Immortals, didn't see it. Survival of the Dead, didn't see it. Saw 3, didn't see it. Land of the Dead, didn't see it. He's going to be in an upcoming TV movie called Cheerleader Death Squad, which I kind of want to see just because it's called Cheerleader Death Squad. I don't know why. That sounds funny. But haven't seen much of any of the shows that he's been on, so I can't speak to him as an actor, but visually, he hits both of the checkboxes I think that he has to play Morgenstern. So, very excited about that. I think that's going to be a fun thing to see. David Castro has been cast to play Rafael Santiago. Just a quick note, I only included him, again, 2 episodes that he's listed for. I think that he's going to work fine for that, but I wanted to mention him more for the fact that he was apparently on a TV series based on the movie Are We There Yet? And I didn't know there was a TV series based on the movie Are We There Yet? Apparently it was on from 2011 to 2012. That happened? I don't know why. That cracked me up, and I just had to say something about it because I didn't know that was a thing. And finally, John Core has been cast to play Hodge. Hodge is a fairly pivotal character, important character on this series. Don't know much about him. As far as the actor goes, he is on Dark Matter. He was on 2 episodes of Dark Matter playing Vons, episodes 10 and 11. We are currently getting caught up on Dark Matter, so we're almost to those episodes, so I'll be able to say something about that at some point, but I can't right now. I haven't seen any of the other stuff that he's done. Well, he played Paulo in Lost Girl, but unfortunately that's a character that I don't remember. That I think was the only other thing in his background that I had actually seen. But, you know, hopefully he will pull off the character of Hodge the way that he should. I think, to me, my biggest gripe against him is I think he looks too young. Hodge in my head was a much older person, which makes me wonder what exactly they're doing with Hodge, or maybe he's older than he looks. But according to his IMDb page, he's a 20-something-year-old living himself to death in Toronto, which is like the worst way to introduce yourself on IMDb. But, I don't know. We'll see how he works out. Anyway, all in all, I think the cast looks interesting. I think it's also interesting to note that Cassandra Clare herself is marked as having written 1 episode of the series, which usually you don't see that when an author, when a work is based off of an author's work. Apparently she wrote the episode, The Mortal Cup, which is, I'm assuming, going to be about what I think it's going to be about. So that is an important episode for her to be a part of. I think it's interesting that they're letting her come in and actually be a part of this, a part of it as a writer. That is surprising to me in some ways, but that excites me to see that she's involved. She's done some really good books, and hopefully she'll bring some of that vision to the show. I want to have high hopes for the show. There have been shows on ABC Family that I have liked in the past. Now that it's becoming freeform, this is going to be an important show for them to launch because it's going to help them, say how they're different and why we should care about them as the new thing that they are. But, only time will tell. We have until January until this show premieres. So if you want to read the book, head out and get yourself a copy of the first Mortal Instruments book, City of Bones, and then you'll be caught up on stories. So, like me, you can be sitting back and asking yourself, scratching your head, how is Brother Jeremiah going to be in all 9 episodes of the first season? Because that just don't make sense to me. In fact, I might actually reread the book just to see if I missed something, because I'm pretty sure I would notice it. Brother Jeremiah was in the room that much. So, I don't understand what they're doing with that. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm hoping that that's just an error on IMDb's part, because that doesn't make sense. Anyway, really excited about this. Wow, we've been talking for 40 minutes. Okay, I told you I was going to try to keep the show under 45, so I am going to stop there. Don't know what we're going to be geeking out about tomorrow. Have a couple ideas in my head. As always, if you have an idea for a show, you can hit me up on social media. Check out our Project Shadow page over on Facebook. You can comment directly on the show notes over at projectshadow.com, or as always, I'm always on Twitter, and that's kind of my sweet spot for doing stuff on social media. So you can check me out on Twitter and let me know what you want the show to be about. If I don't have any firm ideas, I've actually came up with this yesterday. If I don't have any firm ideas for an episode, I'm probably just going to turn on Periscope and see what you guys want to talk about and do the show that way. So I thought that would be fun. But I think I have some stuff that I want to talk about tomorrow, but I haven't quite firmed on it yet. So tomorrow will be a mystery, as is today, as is every day. So celebrate National Coming Out Day in the way that you should. Show love and support for all those you meet. Thank you guys, as always, for your love, care, and support. You guys are the best. I'm going to upload this episode and get to work getting ready to write my next book, Wand & Weaver, The Pearl. And don't forget, I will be posting information soon on how you can be a reader for Wand & Weaver, The Chain, and actually get paid. So I'm going to be doing a 50-50 split on the sales of that book. So keep your eyes open on that, and I will be posting that shortly, and I'll mention on the show when I do. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.